Hi, and welcome to this demo of Beast JavaScript Testsuite. I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of an overview of what this API can do to help speed up development for JavaScript or CoffeeScript files. Now, my name is Siobhan Gabe, and I've been trying to, with JavaScript, what happens is sometimes you get into a little bit of a problem when you want to test stuff. You really want something to be tested, and you want it to be very, very clean and very expressive so you know exactly what is going on inside your test case. And that's what this library was built for. So I wanted to show you, all you have to do is you extend the test case, you create your constructor and you call the super method, you create your base object, and that base object will be passed to you so that it could be tested. Alright, so I'm going to show you guys a little demo of some of the stuff that you could do with it and how exactly it works. Alright, so let's look at what we have here. We have just a CSS style. It's Sass. All it does is increases the font size so that you guys can see a little bit better. We have or Beast tests installed. So all you have to type is npm install Beast tests. I already have it installed, so let's see what happens. It seems like it no repository field. I'm not sure what that means. But either way, it is installed. Maybe actually I'll do a npm on install beast-tests. Right, so now that we uninstall it, we're going to do a quick install, and it's installed. Right, so we come over here, we have our tests, and here it is. Alright. Now for the HTML5 HTML page, all we have is a script tag that includes the test suite, which is here, and we have our actual testing application. Alright. So now I'm going to make sure our testing application is compiling and running. Yep. Alright, so, and you know, it's just CoffeeScript that converts this into JavaScript. What I did was coffee, watch, and compile tests. So now it starts compiling. Okay. And here is our test, which we've already looked at, but we're going to go into a little bit more detail now. If you look at the top here, we're creating a new class, demo tests, which extends the test case. And you must call the super constructor. Now, the reason why, if we come over to our API, we see that the constructor, the constructor actually has this auto method that will automatically run the tests. If you don't call the super constructor and you don't set it to automatically run the test, then we're going to have to call run. But you have to call the super constructor and at least pass in false so that it does some initial setup and stuff, and then you call run if you want to do it that way. But for us, we're going to just have it automatically run by calling super. And by calling new in CoffeeScript, it will automatically just make the class and then automatically run it. So what we're going to do is we're start off with something simple. We have this base, which is number, and this object that contains name, Tom, age, and 24. And this array means that we pass both objects back. Now, when you receive the base object, you could name it whatever you want, but you know, you could name this whatever, but it would probably make sense to name it something that you could recognize. So somebody else comes in, they see your test run, and they understand what's going on. So let's uncomment those, and let's run this test. So now whatever is actually just number, and we're going to test if number is equal to 2, which of course it is. So let's run this test. I'm going to open up this file. Right? And as you can see, test complete, 2 of 2 pass, 0 warnings, and 0 failed. Right? And and that just makes sense. So we have Tom over here, name Tom, age 24, name Tom, age 24. Now I'm going to change this here just to 25, just so we could see what happens when you, if your test fails. Right? When your tests fail, it doesn't just let you know that it fails. It tells you exactly what class the test failed in, what method, and which assert was the one that failed, and also just some little information. So property age, failed to assert that property age is equal. 24 is not 25. So we come over here. So clearly, if this was an application where we were expecting a result of 24, we could clearly see here that our application is not working. We would go back and fix it. So you'd go back and you fix it, and now we're going to run this other test. But first what we're going to do is we're going to look at this class. And basically we have a class person, and this person has the property name and age. So name and age, right? And this class actually has the property name and age. But if you look at the function getName, it's actually an external function that we're using and we're passing in. So these functions are actually exactly the same. If you look right here, they're actually the exact same function. So let's uncomment where we are. So here we are in our base, object test. We created a person, which is Ricky, 38, and now person weird, which is backwards, is Ricky and 38. And now we're going to go back to our tests. Just make sure that's saved. We go back to our tests, and we see that the test passed. Now let's, for instance, let's make our own method here at name. At name. So now we're going to be returning our own method. So we're creating a new method here, and here we're creating a new method. Now understand that even though these methods do the same thing, they're actually two different methods. They're actually created different locations in memory. So they're clearly not the same method compared to when we had the same method up here. So now we're going to come back and we're going to run our tests. And we could see that it failed because the function, even though they're the exact same name, they're actually stored in different location in memory. So that's why that fails. So we want our test to pass, so we're going to do that. But as you can see, these objects are clearly not equal. This is one class, this is another class, and unless we're passing in the same function from outside, then they're not going to be equal. So we do that. Let's say this was the intention of our app, so now we have it working. Another example is with an array. A couple things that could happen with an array. Let's do this. Let's check if this array is equal. So array 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3. We're just going to do a quick check if whether they're equal or not. We're going to come over here, and we're going to see, of course, they're both equal. Now, there's equal, but you could also test if it's the same. If you want to know that, let's say you have two objects, like you have like 5 DOM children or something like that, and then you want to check the parent, and you want to make sure that the parent is the same. They should all have the same parent, right? So we come over here, and we could see that it failed to assert that 1, 2, 3 is the exact same 1, 2, 3 on the assert 1, right? And this happened in our array test on test array on method number 1, on test number 1. So we come over here, array test, test array, and test number 1. Now, right now I have all my files just in the same file. Normally you would have them in different folders, so it would be very, very obvious to a person who's developing where exactly the test went wrong. So even if different people are developing with different files, you throw them all into a test and you know it's going to work. Yeah, so these two arrays are not the same, but they are equal. So we want it to pass, so let's say we didn't need them to be the same, we just needed to make sure that the arrays are equal, then we're good. So we see here how we could test if arrays are equal, so we figure we have a really good idea of what is going on, and so we do something like this. Right? So now we could see that these arrays are clearly equal, so when I test equal, they should be pass. But we see here that it failed to assert that on index 1, so index 1, so this is 0 because it's a 0-based index, and then index 1, it failed to assert them as equal. And the reason for that is because even though the arrays contain the same thing, they're not actually equal, because the index 1, they're actually two different arrays stored in different locations on memory, right? So Beast JavaScript Testsuite does have a way of getting around that. And basically what you could do here is you could do a object equals, right? So right now we're not really focused on the locations in memory and stuff like that. We want to see, like, literally, are these objects equal, right? And we come back over here and we do a test and it passes, right? So if we were to do 4 or something like that, it would now fail because clearly they're not equal, right? So we want our test to pass, so we're going to do that, and we're going to pass. Now, to demonstrate how it's testing from memory, what we're going to do is we're going to pass in the exact same array, which this array, as you can see, it's the exact same array, so they're going to be stored in the same place on memory. So now we could use equal, and it will work because these arrays are actually stored in the same place on memory. Now, even though this part of the array is stored in the same place on memory, the entire array isn't stored. This is clearly one array that was made here, and this is another array that was made here. So if we were to test for same, we come over here, we do it, and we could tell that they're not the exact same. Even though they contain the same thing, they're not the exact same. Right? So equal. Yeah, alright. So this is how Beast JavaScript Testsuite can really help to speed up your development and actually really help to allow you to write really good test cases, and then you just have to fulfill those test cases really quickly. Alright. So in terms of Testsuite, so what can you do with Testsuite? Clearly, we want to find if there's any bugs or anything in the application, and also maybe add some more methods to it. So I wanted to show you guys what are some of the methods that we do have right now. And we have our assert true, which would allow us to test for values that are true. It's not testing for truthy values. It's testing for truth. So they actually have to equal true. Assert equals, we've seen that one. We see how it works. We also have a couple other ones. Maybe I could just show you guys that one really quickly. Alright, so we can do a string test. Just going to delete these. Hello. Hello. No hello world this time. We actually need this to work. Maybe I'll do it after, just to prove a point. So let's just str2 str1, right? So let's test this, str1 and str2. All right, so clearly we can see that these strings are equal. So let's go over here and test this one here. So we see 6 of 6 passes. Now, let's say you're making this application and you know that sometimes things are going to be capitalized and sometimes they're not going to be capitalized. You want to test for that as well. We come over here and we can see that, you know, it doesn't work because one is capital and one is not. For cases like this where you're kind of you know, like it needs to be the same but not like exactly the same, we have this method, similar, right? And what this will do is allow you to test for things that are not the exact same, but they're pretty similar, right? Such as these strings. Another thing that you might need to do sometimes is 5 and 5, right? Clearly they're not the same, but you know they are similar. So we run it again and we pass. Now, if we were to change this back to same, we could see we fail, and if we change it to equals, we see again that we fail. But so we change this to 5 and it passes, right? And just for completion, alright, so hello world passes or does not pass, so we understand that it's working now. Alright, so let's look at some of the methods. So we have assert not null, which is pretty self-explanatory. Assert null, assert array equals, which will test the array but not dive deep into the array and do a deep object testing. Assert object equals, this will go deeply into the array. Now with assert object equals, you could run into a problem where you have you know, you have like a parent class referring to a child, and the child is referring to the parent, and it's going through, and there's a circular reference there. This will find a circular reference, and it will stop it. And what it will do is it will just give you a warning and say, I didn't find any mistakes in it, because it tries to go through as many values as possible. But if it sees that it's going around in a circle, then it will end, right? Assert same, assert similar. Again, this works with, you know, strings that are not the same letters and different capital. And assert function can be used for testing to make sure that something is returned in a callback or making sure it's not null or something like that, right? A couple other methods that we do have is get HTML result and get result. So if we come back to my application, you see here we have get HTML result. Let's take a look at what that actually looks like. Spec element, and we open it. You see that it will have some non-breaking spaces. It will have some BR tags, so that you could pop it into an HTML page and it will kind of format itself a little bit. We also have get result, which if we open up the console, we'll see that it's actually been printing down here the whole time. And there's no BR tags or anything in the console because, you know, the console, let's see, BR, it would show up, right? But if you just put a new line, then everything works out. So, you know, when it's in the console, you could use those different methods to, you know, print it depending on how you want. You could overwrite the print method if you really need to, or overwrite the format method, which will give you a result. Now, format only gives you the results of cases that have warnings or have failed, because if it's passed, then, you know, it shouldn't really matter too much that it passed. But if you overwrite the print method, you could change that behavior. And that's pretty much it. So let's look at result. So you'll see that some of the properties on it is so you'll see that some of the properties on it is name, Oh, okay. So test class. Okay, I was a little bit confused what this was for a second. Okay, test class is whenever you do something that's wrong, it tells you what class. So string test. So you'll instantly know, okay, it's in my class, whatever class that you're testing, all right? And the name is the method. So you'll be able to see the class and the method, and then you'll get the message, which will be, you know, it'll tell you what failed it or what caused it to fail. The result will be one of these types over here. So pass, warning, and fail. Test result. And position will be which one of the assert method caused it to fail. So if we look over here, you see it was the first one that we did. Now, if we go back over to here, all right, so let's, hello, make sure that they're equal. So that works. And then we're just going to go down here, and we're going to say str2. And then we're going to come and test it again. And you see on assert number 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Assert number 10. I think I said 7. I'm not sure. So on assert number 10, you come over here. You could see right away that clearly this one failed. And you know, if you're debugging your application, you could go back and see why it failed, and it's because of the world why it failed, right? So this is Testsuite by Beast JavaScript. I hope this is able to help you guys develop some really robust applications out there. And you could, you know, message us on GitHub or follow us on Twitter if you want to get in contact with us, and or send us an email. You'll be able to get that from our page, right? Everything will be in the description below, so if anything pops up, you can do that. And for the Node, you see right here, just to install it, fresh, very, very fresh, guys. Get it while it's hot. Okay, and yeah, right. And you'll be able to find our API and the link to the YouTube video here. So if you guys have any questions, you could leave it in a comment below or get any other method to contact us. And we hope to, you know, you guys get a good time developing some application. Thank you for your time. See you next time.